Mom and Dad kind of had their own demons to battle at that time, and drugs were definitely involved. And my dad actually ended up, going to prison. He was busted for manufacturing drugs, like on our property. Talk about an embarrassing moment for a high school senior. The community that we lived in, drugs were rampant there. I mean, it was infested with drugs. And sadly, I ended up getting caught up in that lifestyle. And it took me down 17 years of drug addiction myself. Yeah. I ended up getting married. Like, I married this guy. He was a few years older than me, but he had a sports car and he had his own place. Yeah. And, he had a good job, he had money. So that was, like, in my mind, my quickest route out. He was an alcoholic, it turns out, and that relationship turned abusive. She was probably the first time that I saw, like, the love of God, like, in action in my world. Yeah. It got even worse. I was, like, doing more and more drugs. I was bouncing around from couch to couch. I was in bad shape. And I'm, like, in tears begging her, please don't send me to prison. And she looked right at me and she says, Ms. Boyles, you can't see in you what is there. You're too far gone right now, and we're gonna have to do this my way. So she sent me to prison. Once I got to the rehab program and sat down and dried out long enough, and I was able to process grief, and I was able to hear how much God loved me, and I was able to see that I could change my mind and I could change my lifestyle, and I didn't have to live that way forever. It saved my life.
What are the things that you're noticing that addiction helped you not feel?
Oh my goodness. My relationship with my 2 children that I do have, I was so caught up and so gone. She actually passed away 15 days after she was born. And when she passed away, that was when, like, I went from being like a functioning addict to, like, I don't care. Because I used to blame, like, my daughter's death. That was my fault in my head for a long time. If I had all this free time where I was doing drugs before and doing bad things before, like, if I'm not doing anything, then I'm just gonna have a bunch of idle time. So I filled in all of that idle time with, like, serving others and finding somewhere to go volunteer. I'm very honest with my children about the mistakes I made, and they respect that. I just submerged myself around powerful, strong women of all different backgrounds and all different lifestyles and all different economic groups. And, I soaked up all of the wisdom and I soaked up all of the advice. So I wrote this poem when I was in jail, everybody. It says, as I sit alone and stare, only with you these thoughts I share. The reflection I see is slowly becoming the one you meant for me.
Love that.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks.